Hello and welcome to Islamic Awakening, a program that delves deeply into the issues affecting both Islam and Muslims today. I am your host, Ahmed Hanif, and today I'm talking with Professor Tariq Ramadan about fiqh, the rulings created in response to novel circumstances faced by Muslims. For a religion like Islam that has a religious law, it is necessary for laws to be derived in response to new situations for the religion to continue to provide guidance to believers. However, questions and challenges do exist. There is no doubt that fiqh is an essential aspect in the social and individual practice of Islam. So how do we apply it here in a modern Western context? This and other related questions we will be asking Professor Tariq Ramadan in this program. Welcome to the program. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Fiqh, it seems strange in a Western context, because you think of scholars who have attended a seminary, usually in the same country that they live in, and they come out of the seminary and they apply their learning to situations that face that community. But in the West, how could we achieve that type of community independence, if one can put it, or empowerment, if one can put it this way? When we don't have, for example, seminaries, where the seminaries that Muslims attend are outside of their particular social and cultural context. How could we have, living fiqh, applicable fiqh in our environment?
I think it's important for us first within the community and among scholars even to come to a definition of what we are referring to when it comes to fiqh. Not only for the people of other faiths, but within the community we don't have exactly the same understanding. And as you were saying in your introduction and right now, it's always connected to your environment, fiqh, the way you think about it. But up to the line, it's upstream from all the way we are going to translate this into reality. It's important to get it right, because Orientalists, when they were translating fiqh, they were saying fiqh is Islamic jurisprudence, meaning is the way you deal with new challenges. And in fact, it's deeper than that. Fiqh, which in Arabic means deep understanding, al-fahm al-amiq, which is the deep understanding of things, and it became a specialized word in that field, meaning the legal issues. But in fact, the legal issues is both two things. Is law, because we have al-ahkam, which is the rulings that are here, and jurisprudence. But you need to have the first to get the second. So you need to have the framework, you need to have the fundamentals and the pillars to get to then try to answer to the questions or the new challenges of our time. And the principles and the goals and the objectives, this is what we get from an overall understanding of Sharia. In fact, in Sharia, we don't have the rules, we have the principles that are going to be translated into rules that are going to help us to get the new answers for a new situation. So you have three levels. And what we get from the way towards faithfulness, the way that Sharia is not only the legal framework, is how do you read the law in the light of the way? How are you going to get the principles implemented in order to protect the rules? So if your main objective could be justice, to have law dealing with justice is not only going to be implemented whatever is the context. You need to keep in mind the objective of the principle and then to try to find the way you are going to translate this. This is fiqh. This is where we are talking about fuqaha, jurists that are working with this, not only with new issues, but also with the framework, is the whole legal apparatus that we need. Having said that now, what is important in your question is that when you have this, and we can see from the beginning, anyone who is watching it now and listening to us should understand that it's not easy. It's a very complex system where you need to get the global message, the overall message, and then to get the principles, and then to get the rules, and then to think about new rules and about new legal opinions in the light of the whole thing. Why? Because it is said in the hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him, that God kept silent on many issues. سَكَتَ عَنْ أَشْيَاء رَحْمَةً بِكُمْ بِغَيْرِ نِسْيَانٍ. He kept silent about things out of mercy, not out of forgetfulness. Meaning the silence of the book. The book is talking about everything in principles, but not about everything in details.
Right.
You have to make up your mind. And then this reading of the text, understanding the context, and getting the fiqh, doing the rules to be implemented, and the legal opinion to be issued. This is where the scholars have to do the job. So in Muslim majority countries at the beginning, where scholars were dealing with their environment, they were doing it in a very natural way. We have a new situation, let us think about the text, try to get an answer, and then we issue a legal opinion. And by the way, a fatwa, a legal opinion, is not to be imposed. It's something that you get from a scholar that is giving you a direction for you also to decide out of your own understanding and consciousness. So there is you are involved in the issue. So I would say here that when it comes to us living in the West, it's important to keep this in mind, that there is an overall message, that there is a framework with the legal, that are things that are not going to change. In fiqh, you are not going to change the way you pray, not going to change the way you fast. These are immutable rules.
Right.
Now you deal with within a society where things are moving, and you need to get a new way of understanding the rules sometimes, the new way of implementing it, and then to issue new rules, because the text, the Quran and the Sunnah are silent. Not out of forgetfulness, but for us to use our mind, which is where we have in fiqh a critical concept, which is ijtihad. Ijtihad is the personal, individual, or collective reasoning of scholars when the text is silent, are open for interpretations, but you have an ethical direction and not more than that. So there is silence with ethical direction. Find the rule. That's what you have to do.
Now, some people say that in Sunni Islam, they say that the door to ijtihad is closed, and this restricts people to operate within the 4 schools and no more. All right. What do you say about that?
I think it's completely wrong. These were some scholars in history who said, "Oh, all what was said, sorry, we came too late, we just have to repeat." That's wrong. The doors of ijtihad are open for all. And this is where the Shia tradition, in this dialogue with the Sunni, was in fact more structured, paradoxically, because what we get from the Sunni tradition is the Shia are structured, it's like a clergy, so they have the authority coming from on high. It's there that we found that the tradition of ijtihad was very powerful. In fact, exactly because it was structured, and you don't have somebody who's saying, I have the final word. No, it's open. And aql, the intellect, is part of the sources in the whole Shia tradition. Sending to the Sunni something which was paradoxically a historical experience by saying, oh, that's over. No one can add anything to what was said. So that's wrong, and we have to come back and to understand. Now we understand that the mainstream, in fact, within both the Sunni and the Shia altogether, the mainstream understanding is that we have to promote ijtihad. We have to work on fiqh and to try to come with new answers to new challenges. We all agree on that, except for some who are taqlidi, so they are imitating the schools of law that you're referring to, or Salafi literally say, no, anything new, it's bid'ah, it's innovation, so stop it. And at the same time, they use their cars, but they don't want progress, and say, well, there is something wrong in the whole business. So we have this kind of very simplistic understanding of the way we have to deal with our scriptural sources. The deep problem that we have now, it's not enough to say we need new answers. It's not enough. That's good to say we need new answers. It's what is the overall understanding that you have within or through which you will get these new answers? Because at the end, you can, and you know, I was myself trained with all my scholars in Egypt. They were all, you know, with promoting ijtihad and ijazat, you know, when they gave you the permission, because we don't have the same institutions as in the Shia. We all have different type of institutions. I went through something which was very taqlidi, which is traditional. The sheikh is giving you the authorization to teach. And they were talking about ijtihad. But at the end, my sense was the world is changing, and we come with new rules that are just helping us to adapt to the world the way it is. And this was my understanding of Islam. I'm not coming to the West and being a Western citizen just to have a legal opinion telling me this is the way you can deal with the environment. I have something which is deeper than that. My ijtihad is not to give me the rules to adapt, but to give me a direction to change it for the better. Not to convert people, but to make it a better place. A better place. So our understanding is ijtihad in the legal field is problematic. Because for some it's just give me some fatwa just to be safe, on the safe side, that's fine. But this is a protective attitude, reacting to the world, protecting yourself, but you don't have an impact on the world, which was not the tradition of Islam at the beginning. Science, knowledge was about what? Changing the world, expanding, having an ethics that was helping the world to be a better place to live in. So for us, fiqh should not be the legal framework within which we are protected, is the legal direction through which we change for the better.
Okay,
that's the critical question.
This is quite unique, actually, because most people think in terms of fiqh and ijtihad and so on, in terms of individual guidance, you know, dealing with different subjects, different issues that come up, or social guidance. But you're saying that ijtihad and fiqh is basically to change the world. Could you expand a little bit on that? Give me an example of how ijtihad and fiqh could be used to change the world, where you're applying something to the world to make it a better place.
So that's a critical question. It's very important. The first, for example, when we live in the West, I said, look, at the end of the day, we are facing new challenges. So it's normal for us to have scholars telling us you can do this and you can't do that. For example, in economy, you have, you know, we know that the overall neoliberal system, capitalist system, has nothing to do with ethics and values that we are promoting. We agree on one thing. We are not against private property. But we understand, as vicegerents in the world, that we cannot do whatever we want in the name of private property or ownership, and that we have to have ethical guidelines. This is it. What we have now with some thinking about Islamic economy, Islamic finance, is to come and to say, okay, we need halal means, halal transactions that are not using interests and avoiding speculation.
Right.
In principle, this is the right fiqh. This is a legal framework. Now, what we see is that the whole system is haram, and you have a window of halal within it. So you Islamize the means, you don't question the goal of the whole economic system. That's a problem.
Right.
My way of putting fiqh in the West is I might have to question first the principles and then the goals. Not to come of a fiqh adapting itself to the world, but having a transformative approach about questioning the goals of economy. Islamizing, if we put it that way, the goals,
I see.
not the means. You can take this everywhere. So for example, in bioethics, we are doing euthanasia. Or for example, organ donation. We come with very updated legal opinions. Very good. It's possible we don't have a problem in Islam with this, that's fine. But let's take a step back and think about the whole system. It's good to go for organ donation. Now, we know today that with the global order, organ donation is used in economic terms as a way for rich people to exploit poor people in the whole system. What is the Islamic answer? We adapt ourselves to the means, but we don't question the goals. So I would say here that for me, as a Western Muslim, living here. I want to be this contributing presence, questioning the goals and coming with something which is deeper than, okay, let us have some fiqh, making some, here and there, this is fatwa, this is legal opinion, and at the end, we can't change the world, so there is a darura. Darura means it's imperative to deal with the world, or haja, we are in need, and that's it. And we end up being people trying to find some detailed solution, but not questioning the whole system.
Right.
I don't get this as what Muslims should do wherever they are. So in the West, we need what we were talking about. We have even people saying we have a fiqh of minority, fiqh al-aqaliyya. So you have people thinking about, as we are minorities in the West, we need to have a specific fiqh to try to adapt ourselves. That's fine, but this is but a step. The overall process should be for us to say, look, let us come back to the sources, let us come back to the Quran and the Sunnah, and get this energy of the beginning that the scholars had wherever they were to go, and they were adding something and not adapting to what it is. Okay. We take what is good.
Scholars, fiqh, and so forth. In the West, we don't have homegrown scholars in home-established seminaries. They study overseas and within a different cultural context, within a context where they have their own issues that they're dealing with, right? I mean, what can we do? In fact, I think a fiqh, ijtihad of the Western society is almost non-existent.
Yeah. You said something, and just repeated this, that is critical for us. When we speak about fiqh, what you said when we are introducing the whole discussion, it has to be done where people live. This was the situation of the scholars. And you can't think of new answers which are not coming from the environment, from the society, because there is a psychological factor in fatwa, in legal opinion. This is what I call the background, the backdrop is the psychology. Fatwa has to do with the psychology of the people, the culture and all this. So it has to be adapted to an environment. And what you are adding now, when we all are experiencing this in the West, is that there is a lack of institutions. There is a lack of training the people. So some of the Western governments are telling us, you need, imams trained here. And we agree on this. We don't have a problem with this. The language should be the language of the country, but that's not the main problem. A'imma in the mosque are bringing a discourse. Now we want to bring knowledge. Knowledge means that the fuqaha, the jurists that are dealing with the legal opinion, should be born, if possible, and raised at least in the country, and to understand. And to understand is not only I speak English, or I speak German, or I speak French. No. It's I get the feeling from within. I am culturally integrated,
right.
And you can always. I'm always repeating this. As long as you don't get the sense of humor of a society, you may know the language. You don't get the spirit.
That's right.
The sense of humor is showing something which is, and it's very deep because you deal with history, common memory, collective psychology, the mindset. And we need scholars that are educated and getting this from within. So they are equipped with the legal framework, and they are equipped with sensitivities, memories, and understanding, because we need the text and the context all together. So it's our responsibility now to stop this business of bringing people with their legal opinion from other countries and give us the final answer. There are answers that they can give. For example, when it comes to al-ibadat, the 5 pillars of our faith, in al-aqidah, the 6 pillars
basically
of our
the stuff
faith.
that doesn't change.
Exactly,
really.
the immutable.
Yes.
That's fine. Tell me how to pray, tell me how to fast, tell me the 6 pillars of my faith. That's fine. But when it comes now to deal with people, when you have people living in Saudi Arabia, they send a fatwa, say, if a Christian is telling you or greeting you, you don't respond. This is haram. I say, where are you? What are you talking about? That's not going to work like this. So we need really to have people understanding the psychology, understanding this, and then also to understand what I was talking about, which is we are not in the West to adapt ourselves to the West the way it is. We are not in the West to convert people to Islam, because this is none of our business. We are here in the West to make these societies better than they are today. Wake up and do the job.
I hear
so
you.
this is what we need.
I hear you. Now, some people would say that the principles upon which fiqh is based and the frame of reference is 1,400 years old, you know, and that Islam cannot answer questions that have arisen 1,400 and more years later. What would be your response to that?
That it's true that the foundations, the principles, they are not only coming from the 7th century for us. They are even before that. They are as old as humanity. When you have coming from the Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ, we gave dignity to human beings. It's not seven or 15 centuries ago. It's straight from the very beginning. And when we listen to the Prophet, peace be upon him, saying, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ, I was sent by us to beautify, to complete the good character. He meant, I came, and in the Quran it is said, قُلْ مَا كُنْتُ بِدْعًا مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. I'm not an innovator. I'm just confirming what you got before me, coming from the Christian tradition, the Jewish tradition, and all the prophets and the messengers. So yes, we have principles that are as old as humanity. And we have also things that are quite clear in the way we want to deal with ourselves. There will be no humanity if there is no education. And for us, the pillars of Islam are educating means. We pray to be disciplined. We fast to come back to ourselves, and this is education. This is for us the pillars of our spiritual education. So it's old, and it will be the present and the future. It's humanity. This is what we think as believers. Now, when it comes to some of our principles in interpersonal relationship, some people are saying, you know, time is flying and things are changing, and they want us to accept new rules or new things about, for example, new social behavior. Say, no, look, we have principles. For example, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to family, you might think that with time family is less important. We think, and this is coming from our message, that there is no future for us without family. So we have to think, and to keep a family in the West is a jihad.
Yes.
And to keep a family in the world today is a jihad. So when the people are saying, oh, you are conservative, yes, I'm a conservative of the great principles of humanity. If you want to lose them, that's your business, but I don't.
Thank you very much. But I don't. That ends up the time that we have. Very, very important, very interesting that I think we have uncovered one of the things that's very important, I think, is what you mentioned in terms of fiqh taking place within a context and also within a process, a specific process involving principles. And I think even more importantly is the idea that ijtihad is not just about creating a comfort zone,
Exactly.
but also one that challenges erroneously held views, errors in thinking and in behavior, which makes the Muslim more effective in their environment. I want to thank you very much. It was a great time we had, and sadly we've run out of time. So I'd like to thank Professor Tariq Ramadan, and of course all of you at home for watching. And until next time, and another edition of Islamic Awakening, we'll be seeing you here on this channel. It's a goodbye from me and the whole team.